All right, hello there, and welcome to Modern Firm Practices. I'm Brad Turville, and so it's an interesting time at the moment, and you can see it's a bit of a mess here, and that's because I've been working on my brand and redefining my brand and the elements that lie around that, but also how do they play into when I am putting together a talk or a speech, putting together coaching and putting together training and unpacking some of that IP. And what I was reflecting on was this time of year in Australia, it's the start of a new financial year, but we're also in a time where there's a lot of unease and uncertainty and so on. There is an opportunity for you now to redefine your brand. Brand is a very big topic and really outside the scope of this. We could spend days talking about brand, and brand is really what I'm going to talk about today is looking at what do you stand for. What do people say about you when you're not in the room, when they're talking to their friends and their colleagues? Probably a better question there is, what do you want to stand for, and what do you want people to be saying about you? Because you're able to craft that however you want. And what's currently happening at the moment is due to all the decisions that you've made in the past. Now, you've probably never thought of things like this and never thought to ask yourself the question, what sort of brand do we want to stand behind? Do we want to be proud of? Do we want to build? Do we really want to stand for? And part of that is, what are your standards? Now, this is going to speak to you personally, but it's also going to speak to you as the owner of the business, and the business being somewhat an extension of you. And so, what are your standards? Where are they at right now? And do you need to raise your standards? That is a question, but I'm pointing the finger at the same time, saying, I'm asking you, do you need to raise your standards? And I'm also saying, you need to raise your standards. Because I see and hear a lot of what's going on, and it's below par of your peers, but I hear it direct from your mouth saying, I'm here, but I wish I was here. Great, raise the standard. The great thing with that is it's just a choice. You don't have to go and buy a new standard, right? You don't have to go and spend a whole year and get a degree in learning your standards. You can just identify, hey, this is what I want our standard to be. It could be around your team. It could be around yourself, maybe how you dress and present yourself. It could be around your office and what the office looks like. Is it open and inspiring and bright and new and modern? Is it the type of clients? Do we have standards around clients, their industry, how they interact with us? Are we going to have standards around our communication with our clients, standards around our marketing? This one-term standards can apply in so many facets. It also applies to your ideal clients, which was what I spoke on last week, which is looking at the year ahead. What do your ideal client or clients look like? Have you ever got clear on it? And do you think that would be a good decision, getting some clarity? I'll link to that video up in one of these corners if you want to go and revisit that. Because I was reflecting on a book. I've got a lot of things here I've been reflecting on. This one here, Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I love this book. I've shared it with a lot of people. And it talks about habits coming from your identity, okay? And this is playing in what I was just saying, which is, what do you stand for? What are your standards? But what do you identify with? So let's unpack this a little bit, because it's a bit up here in the clouds. Let's say you want to identify as a modern firm. You want to implement modern firm practices. You maybe haven't done it before, but it's been on your mind. It's because of all the change going on, you now want to and have to adapt. And you've thought to yourself, we want to be known for, we want to stand for being a modern firm. We want that to be our standard. We want that to attract the type of clients that we want. That's going to be our identity. So then, what are the habits you need to start putting in place that play into that identity? So what would a modern firm practice, right? I actually just made that up, but it plays in, okay? If we want to be a modern firm, what are modern firm practices? What are we going to start doing differently? And some of these habits, you're probably already doing some of them, but let's put them in three buckets. Some you probably need to start doing because they're modern firm practices, you haven't done them before. There might be some that coincidentally you're already doing them. You might just need to continue. And then there might be some where these are not modern firm practice. They don't align with this identity of a modern firm. And so I need to stop them. So they're going to be specific to you. It might be where you're going to put more of a conscious effort into sales and marketing, our brand, and talking to and educating our ideal clients. That is a modern firm practice. We've never done it before. I love it. I want to be a part of it. I know I've never done it, but I want to do it. Cool. So what are the habits you're going to start to do? You're going to start to plan out a marketing calendar. You're going to get some maybe business development training. You're going to get clear on your ideal clients. You're going to get clear on the ideal clients' problems. You're going to get clear on the education you can give your ideal clients to solve their ideal problems. You might have habits that you want to change around pricing. We've done pricing and timesheets and hitting the clock and capacity issues in the past. We think there must be a different or a better way that we could look in and entertain. Great. So you might now change the way, let's say you went from, we're going to stop doing timesheets to work out our pricing and our invoicing every month. Let's say that's the decision. You say, I have seen the light and I see we're creating all this value for our clients and I want to focus on creating value for clients, but because we work off timesheets, I'm just focused on making sure so much time hits the timesheet so we can hit our billables. That way is about focusing on ourselves and how much time can I bill. This way I focus on how much value can I create for a client and what are the big results I can create for my client, and I price towards those results. You might say, if I'm going to be a modern firm, have modern firm practices, what are the practices? The practices are the habits. Now, what do these habits need to look like? A great friend of mine, Mark Jenkins, who's also a bit of a atomic habits junkie like I am. He has a great framework called Be, Do, Have. So I want to give him the credit for it. And a lot of people operate the other way around. They say, well, once I have this, then I can do it and then I'll be that person. But there's no reason you can't flip it. In fact, the best way to do it is to flip it. And so who do I want to be? And that plays now into your habits. So if I want to be this type of person, then what are the habits of that type of person? What would that person do in this situation? Would they accept this client? What service would they offer? How would they price this? How would they lead their team in this situation? How would they market this service? Would they actually engage that branding expert? Think like, what do I need to be? And then just start being it now. Because you can't always have the haves instantly. There's sometimes a process to get to the have. But to be whatever you want, it's just a switch that you can flick. And then when you start to be that person, you start to bring those habits, you start doing the things that play into, the doing would be the modern firm practices. And then it's going to lead to the result that you want anyway. So the takeaways from today is focus on and reflect on, and look, even write these down if you want, and reflect on them. Grab yourself a coffee. You might need a wine or a beer in some cases. But what do you stand for? And what do you want to stand for? And raise your standards. Think about the different areas, important parts of your business. What do we want our minimum standards to be? Or in that area, how can we raise our standard? You're going to know the areas yourself where you need to raise your standards. Are we just seeing our clients once a year to do tax and we feel like we should be doing more? Should we be communicating with them a bit more? Should we be providing some educational support to them because our standards are below par? In fact, there's nothing there. You're going to know what they are and raise them. Ideal clients, get clear on it because you can then talk to them specifically. Your identity. Do you want to identify as a modern firm? What does a modern firm look and smell like to you, and then what habits do I need to be doing to start living into that modern firm identity. Okay, this is very mindset related, but that is such a large component of running a business, let alone you're running your business, you're managing your team, and you're also then, advising and leading, inspiring all of your clients as well, especially in these times where you need to be, very resilient and very empathetic. So perhaps they might be your two modern firm habits is around resilience and empathy, and there might be some standards there that you need to bump up a little bit. I hope this has shaken up a few ideas for you in a new way to look at the year ahead and look at what you are wanting to be, as opposed to let's just tick over another financial year, same position, same results. We all know the saying, you do the same thing, you're going to get the same results. Perhaps you need some new habits. Perhaps you need some modern firm practices to take you from where you are to where you truly want to be. This has been Modern Firm Practices Show. I'm Brad Turville. Until next week.